Hannah stared at the communication panel like she did every morning. Thousands of lights blinked across the massive screen. Green lights meant active channels. Yellow lights meant scheduled maintenance. Blue lights meant diplomatic communications. But there was one red light. There was always one red light. Earth. She had worked at the Galactic Coalition station for 2 years now. Every single day, that red light sat in the corner of the main display. Dead, silent, forbidden. "Stop looking at it," Day said from behind her. The station commander walked past her console with a cup of something hot and bitter. He never smiled in the mornings. "You know the rules." "I know the rules," Hannah replied. "But why do we have the rules? No one ever explains it." Day stopped walking. He turned to look at the red light, then back at Hannah. His face was tired. He had commanded this station for 15 years. "Because those rules kept the galaxy safe for 200 years. That's all you need to know." But Hannah had never been good at accepting simple answers. She was 26 years old and had joined the coalition because she believed in connection. She believed in bringing species together. The red light bothered her like an itch she couldn't scratch. The morning shift continued as normal. Ships docked and departed. Diplomats argued about trade routes. Scientists shared research data. The galaxy moved forward like it always did. But Hannah kept glancing at that red light. During her lunch break, she found Tay in the station archives. Tay was old. No one knew exactly how old, but he had been with the coalition since before Hannah was born. He spent his days reading old records and mumbling to himself. "Ty," Hannah said quietly, "can I ask you something?" The old diplomat looked up from his reading screen. His eyes were sharp, despite his age. "You want to know about Earth." "How did you know?" "Everyone asks eventually. The young ones always ask." Tay leaned back in his chair. "I remember when the silence began. I was young like you. There was a vote. The council decided that Earth should be left alone." "But why?" Tay was quiet for a long moment. "Fear. The council was afraid." "Of what? Did Earth attack someone? Did they threaten the coalition?" "No," Tay said slowly. "That's the strange part. Earth never attacked anyone. They never made threats. They just grew too fast. They learned too quickly. They invented things that took other species thousands of years to develop. They did it in decades." Hannah sat down across from him. "That doesn't make sense. We should celebrate species that advance quickly." "You would think so," Tay agreed. "But imagine you're running a race with 1,000 people. Everyone is moving at the same speed. Then one person suddenly starts running 10 times faster than everyone else. What do you feel?" "I'd be impressed." "Would you? Or would you be worried? Would you wonder what happens when they reach the finish line while you're still halfway there?" Tay tapped his reading screen. "The council was worried, so they made a choice. They asked Earth to step back, and Earth agreed." "Just like that?" "Just like that." Tay looked at the ceiling. "Humans are strange that way. They understood the fear. They didn't fight it. They just left. The channel stayed open for 5 more years. Earth kept reporting their activities, kept sharing research. Then one day the channel went quiet. It's been quiet ever since." Hannah felt something twist in her stomach. "That's not fair." "No," Tay agreed. "It's not." She returned to her station that afternoon with more questions than answers. The red light seemed brighter now, more obvious. She pulled up the channel information. Earth's beacon was still active. The system showed a steady pulse. Someone on Earth was maintaining the channel. They were listening. They had been listening for 200 years. Why would they keep listening if no one ever called? The shift was nearly over when Una appeared on the main communication screen. She was calling from the Coalition Medical Research Facility, 3 systems away. Una looked exhausted. Her eyes were red. "We have a problem," Yuna said. Her voice shook. "A plague broke out on the mining colony in Sector 7. We've never seen anything like it. It's spreading to nearby systems." Day stepped forward. "How bad?" 17,000 infected in the first system. The number doubles every day. Our medicine doesn't work. Nothing works. It adapts faster than we can study it." Yuna's hands trembled. "We're losing people, Commander." Hana watched the conversation with growing horror. Day asked questions. Yuna gave answers. None of them were good answers. The plague had no cure. The plague had no pattern. The plague was killing everyone it touched. That night, Hana couldn't sleep. She kept thinking about the plague. She kept thinking about Earth. She accessed the old archives from her personal terminal. Most files about Earth were sealed, classified, forbidden. But some fragments remained. Medical reports from before the silence, research papers, data exchanges. Earth had cured diseases that the Coalition considered incurable. They had healed injuries that other species thought were permanent. Their biological knowledge was centuries ahead of everyone else. Hana's hands moved across her terminal. She dug deeper into the fragments. One phrase kept appearing in the old reports. Human medical capability exceeds projected advancement by minimum 200 years. The next morning, 3 more systems reported infections. Yuna's face appeared on the screen again. She looked worse. "We need help," she said simply. "We've tried everything." Hana looked at the red light. The forbidden channel. Earth's channel. She wondered if they were still listening. She wondered if pressing that button would save lives or break the galaxy. Day stood beside her, staring at the casualty reports. His jaw was tight. 200 years of protocol, he whispered. 200 years of peace. "Is it peace if people are dying?" Hana asked. Day didn't answer. The red light pulsed steadily. Waiting. Always waiting. The medical facility smelled like chemicals and fear. Yuna walked through the quarantine ward with her protective suit sealed tight. Through the glass walls, she could see them. Hundreds of patients lying in beds. Some were sleeping. Some were crying. Some had stopped moving altogether. The plague had reached 15 systems now. The number was growing every hour. Yuna sat in her office and pulled up the research data. Her team had been working for 6 days straight. They had tried every known treatment. They had created 43 different medicines. Nothing worked. The plague changed itself. It adapted. It survived. "We're missing something," she said to her empty office. "There has to be an answer." She started searching through the old medical archives. The Coalition had fought diseases for thousands of years. Surely someone had seen something like this before. Her search brought up files from every member species, hundreds of thousands of reports, millions of treatment records. Then she found the Earth files. Most of them were sealed, classified, but a few remained open. Medical exchanges from before the silence. Yuna read them with growing amazement. Earth had cured a plague on Vendor Prime in 2634. The plague had been adaptive, unstoppable. Earth had solved it in 11 days. 11 days. Yuna kept reading. Earth had healed a genetic disease that had plagued the Mekor species for 6,000 years. They had done it in 3 months. Earth had stopped a viral outbreak that killed 80% of its victims. They had created a cure in 5 days. How was this possible? She called Sue. The historian answered immediately. She looked as tired as Yuna felt. "I need to know about Earth," Yuna said. "I need to know everything you know." Sue was quiet for a moment. "Why?" "Because people are dying and I think Earth could help." Sue's expression changed. She looked worried, frightened. "Yuna, you can't be serious. The protocols—" "I don't care about protocols," Yuna interrupted. "I care about saving lives. Tell me about Earth." Sue took a deep breath. "I've spent 10 years studying the sealed files. I've broken more rules than I can count. I've seen things that would get me expelled from the coalition. And? Earth was never dangerous, Sue said quietly. They were never hostile. They never threatened anyone. The Council was afraid because humans advanced so fast. They learned too quickly. They invented too much. Other species took 10,000 years to develop space travel. Humans did it in a few hundred years. Una leaned closer to the screen. That's not a crime. No, Sue agreed. But it was frightening. The Council worried about what would happen when humans became too powerful. So they asked Earth to stop sharing technology. They asked humans to slow down, to give everyone else time to catch up. And Earth agreed? Yes. For 20 years, Earth limited their advancement. They shared less. They helped less. But it didn't matter. The fear remained. So the Council asked them to step back completely, to leave the coalition. Sue's hands shook slightly. Earth didn't fight. They didn't argue. They just said they understood. They said they would wait until the galaxy was ready. Ready for what? Ready to see them as partners instead of threats. Una felt something cold settle in her chest. So we pushed them away. We isolated them because we were afraid of their potential. Yes. That's wrong. Yes, Sue said again, but it's been 200 years. No one knows if Earth is still listening. No one knows if they would even help us now. Una looked at the medical reports on her other screen. The death count had reached 50,000. We have to try. Back at the coalition station, Bin was arguing with Day. The military strategist had heard about the whispers, the suggestions, the dangerous idea that someone might contact Earth. Absolutely not, Bin said firmly. We have protocols for a reason. Breaking them could restart the exact situation that led to the separation. People are dying, Hannah said from her console. She had been listening to the argument for an hour. Doesn't that matter? Bin turned to her. His face was hard. Of course it matters, but we have to think about the bigger picture. What happens if we contact Earth and they refuse to help? What happens if they help but demand something in return? What happens if opening that channel creates new problems? What happens if we do nothing and millions die? Hannah shot back. We find another solution. We've been trying for a week. There is no other solution. Day held up his hand. Both of you, stop. He looked older than he had a week ago. The stress was visible on his face. Bin, I understand your concerns, but Hannah is right. We're running out of time. So what do you suggest? Bin asked. We break 200 years of protocol on a hope? We contact a species that chose isolation because we're desperate? Yes, Day said simply, because desperation is all we have left. Hannah received a message that evening. It was from her home system. Her younger sister had been infected. The plague had spread faster than anyone expected. Her sister was 8 years old. The doctors gave her 48 hours. Hannah sat at her console and cried. She thought about protocol. She thought about rules. She thought about fear and isolation and 200 years of silence. Then she thought about her sister, about the thousands of children lying in medical facilities across the galaxy, about the parents watching their families die. Her hand moved to the communication panel. The red light pulsed steadily. Earth's channel. The forbidden button. Day stood beside her. He didn't say anything. He just watched. If I do this, Hannah whispered, everything changes. If you don't do this, Day replied, everything ends. Hannah looked at the button. It was just a button, a simple piece of technology. Pressing it would send a signal across space to Earth, a planet that had been silent for 200 years. A species that had been isolated because they were too good at helping. She thought about her sister's smile, about her laugh, about the way she asked a million questions about the stars. Hannah's finger touched the button. Wait, Bin said from across the room. He walked over slowly. If you do this, I want it on record that I advised against it." "Noted," Day said. Bin looked at Hana. His expression softened. "But I also want it on record that I understand why you're doing it." Hana took a deep breath. Her finger pressed down. The red light turned yellow, then green. A signal launched into space, traveling faster than light, crossing the distance between the Coalition station and Earth. The call was sent. Now they could only wait. The waiting was the worst part. Hana sat at her console, staring at Earth's channel. The light was green now, active. The signal had been sent 3 minutes ago. 3 minutes of silence. 3 minutes of wondering if anyone was listening. "How long should we wait?" she asked Day. The commander checked his chronometer. "Messages to the furthest Coalition systems take about 8 minutes. Earth is closer. Maybe 5 or 6 minutes for a response, if they respond at all." Bin paced back and forth behind them. They might not answer. They might have abandoned the channel years ago, or they might answer and tell us to solve our own problems. "Would you blame them?" Tay asked. The old diplomat had come to the command center when he heard about the call. "We pushed them away. We isolated them. Why would they help us?" Hana didn't have an answer. She just watched the screen. 4 minutes passed, then 5. Hana's heart sank with each passing second. Maybe Bin was right. Maybe Earth had moved on. Maybe they had stopped listening decades ago. Then the screen blinked. A message appeared. Text only, simple and direct. "Coalition Station, this is Earth Communication Hub. We receive your signal. Stand by for voice connection." Hana's hands started shaking. They answered, Day repeated, his voice full of disbelief. The screen changed. A face appeared. A human face. He looked young, maybe in his 30s. He had dark hair and calm eyes. He wore a simple gray uniform with a patch that read, "Earth Unified Response." "Hello," the human said. His voice was warm, friendly, like he was greeting old friends instead of strangers who had ignored his world for 200 years. "My name is Jin. I'm the first contact representative for Earth. We've been waiting for your call." Hana found her voice. "You've been waiting?" Jin smiled. "For 200 years, yes. We knew someone would call eventually. We just didn't know when." He leaned forward slightly. "We've been monitoring Coalition communications. We know about the plague. We'd like to help." "Just like that?" Bin asked sharply. "You'll just help us? After 2 centuries of silence?" Jin's expression didn't change. "Yes, just like that. People are dying. We can help them live. Why would we refuse?" Day stepped forward. "Earth, this is Commander Day. We appreciate your response, but I need to understand. Why did you maintain the channel? Why did you keep listening if we never called?" "Because we hoped you would," Jin said simply. "We understood why the Council asked us to step back. We understood the fear. But we also knew that fear doesn't last forever. We knew that eventually the galaxy would need us, or want us, or just be curious. So we waited." Another face appeared on the screen beside Jin. This person was older, wearing what looked like a medical uniform. She had kind eyes and quick hands that moved over a control panel. "I'm Wu," she said. "Lead medical researcher for Earth's emergency response team. I need all the data you have on the plague. Patient symptoms, spread patterns, genetic sequencing, everything. Send it to me now." Yuna's face appeared on a secondary screen. She had been listening from the medical facility. "Sending all files now. But I have to warn you, this plague adapts faster than anything we've seen. We've tried 43 different treatments, nothing works." Wu was already reviewing the data. Her eyes moved rapidly across multiple screens. "I see why. This isn't a natural plague. Someone engineered this." The command center went silent. "What do you mean, engineered?" Yuna asked. "I mean someone created this deliberately," Wu said. Her voice was matter-of-fact, calm, like she was discussing the weather. The adaptation patterns aren't random. They're designed. This plague was made to be unstoppable. Who would do that? Hana whispered. That's a question for later, Jin said. Right now, we focus on saving lives. Woo, how long? Give me 6 hours for initial analysis, 12 for a treatment protocol, 24 for a cure. Wu's fingers flew across her controls. I'm bringing in our medical AI. It's already running simulations. Medical AI? Yuna looked shocked. You have artificial intelligence working on medical research? We have artificial intelligence working on everything, Wu said. It's faster than we are, better at pattern recognition, and it doesn't get tired. She glanced up at the screen. Don't worry, we're still in charge. The AI makes suggestions. We make decisions. Another person appeared on the Earth communication screen. He was older than Jin, with gray hair and serious eyes. He wore a different uniform, one with more decorations. I'm Quan, he said, Earth's historical advisor. Commander Day, you asked why we maintain the channel. I can give you the full answer. He pulled up a file on his screen. When the Council asked us to leave, we agreed to one condition. We would step back, but we would watch over the Coalition from a distance. We would protect you even if you didn't know we were there. Bin stepped closer. Protect us from what? From external threats, Quan said. The Coalition controls a large part of this galaxy, but not all of it. There are hostile forces beyond your borders, pirates, raiders, rogue AI systems. For 200 years, Earth ships have been patrolling the edges of Coalition space. We've stopped 14 major incursions. We've destroyed 3 war fleets before they reached your colonies. Day's face went pale. We never knew. That was the point, Quan said. We didn't want credit. We didn't want recognition. We just wanted to help. Because that's what you do for family. Even when family asks you to leave. Hana felt tears on her face. She didn't bother wiping them away. We treated you terribly. Jin's expression was gentle. You were afraid. Fear makes people do things they regret later. We understood that. We didn't take it personally. How? Tay asked. The old diplomat's voice cracked. How can you be so forgiving? Because holding grudges doesn't save lives, Jin replied. And we're here to save lives, not settle old arguments. The screen split again. More humans appeared. Scientists, doctors, engineers, all of them working on different aspects of the plague. They shared data with Yuna's team. They asked questions. They offered suggestions. Wu sent over the first analysis within 3 hours, not 6. I've identified the plague's core structure, she said. It's brilliant, actually. Horrible, but brilliant. Whoever designed this knew exactly what they were doing. Can you stop it? Yuna asked. Yes, Wu said confidently. I can stop it. The plague adapts quickly, but it follows patterns. Once you understand the patterns, you can predict the adaptations. I'm creating a treatment that will work regardless of how the plague changes. How is that possible? Yuna looked at the data Wu had sent. This should take months to develop. It would take months for most species, Wu agreed. We can do it faster. We've had a lot of practice. Within 10 hours, Earth had sent not just a cure, but medical teams. Ships arrived at Coalition systems carrying supplies and personnel. Human doctors worked alongside Coalition medics. Human engineers set up emergency treatment facilities. Hana watched it all from her console. She saw humans working 20-hour shifts. She saw them carrying sick children to medical beds. She saw them holding the hands of dying patients from species they'd never met before. Why are they doing this? Bin asked quietly. He stood beside Hana, watching the same scenes. They owe us nothing. Less than nothing. Why do they care so much? Hana thought about the question. She thought about Jin's calm voice, about Wu's quick mind, about Kwan's gentle forgiveness. "Because they're human," she said finally, "and maybe that's what being human means." The cure arrived in waves, first to the most critical systems, then spreading outward like ripples on water. Hana watched the medical reports change from red to yellow to green. The death count stopped climbing, started dropping. People were surviving. Her sister was among the first to receive treatment. Hana got the message at her console. The doctors said her sister would make a full recovery. Hana put her head down on her desk and cried tears of relief. Jin arrived at the Coalition station 2 days later. His ship was small and simple, not like the massive vessels that Coalition diplomats used. He came alone, without guards or attendants. Just one human walking through the airlock with a small bag and a friendly smile. "Permission to come aboard?" he asked Day. Day looked at the human for a long moment. Then he did something Hana had never seen him do. He bowed, a deep, respectful bow. "Permission granted, and thank you. Thank you for everything." Jin returned the bow. "You're welcome, but we're not done yet. The cure is working, but we need to find who created the plague. This won't be the last attack if we don't stop the source." They set up a joint command center in the station's main conference room. Jin worked with Hana to coordinate the medical response. Wu connected from Earth, her face on the main screen as she analyzed data with Yuna. "The plague was designed by someone with advanced biological knowledge," Wu explained. She highlighted sections of genetic code on the screen. "This level of sophistication requires serious resources, a major research facility, probably government-backed." "Could it be a coalition species?" Yuna asked carefully. "Possible," Wu said. "But I don't think so. The engineering style is different. The techniques are unfamiliar. This comes from outside coalition space." Kwan appeared on another screen. "We've been tracking unusual activity near the border zones. Unknown ships moving through coalition territory. They appear to be monitoring the plague's spread." Bin was at the meeting now. He had stopped arguing against Earth's involvement. Instead, he listened carefully to everything the humans said. "Can you track these ships?" "Already doing it," Kwan replied. "We have 3 Earth vessels following them at a distance. If they lead us to their base, we'll know who's responsible." The work continued around the clock. Humans and coalition members worked side by side. Hana found herself working directly with Jin, coordinating supply deliveries to 14 different systems. "How do you do it?" she asked him during a brief rest period. "How do you stay so calm, so focused? You've been working for 30 hours straight." Jin smiled tiredly. "Training, and practice, and coffee. Lots of coffee." He took a sip from a metal container. "But honestly, this is what we do. This is what humans have always done. When there's a crisis, we respond. We don't think about the cost or the risk, we just act." "But why?" Hana pressed. "You didn't have to help us. After everything the coalition did, you could have refused. No one would have blamed you." Jin set down his coffee. "Can I tell you a story? It's about Earth, about our history. Please." Thousands of years ago, humans lived in small groups, tribes. We were weak compared to other animals. We didn't have claws or sharp teeth. We weren't particularly fast or strong. But we had one advantage. We helped each other. Jin leaned back in his chair. When one person was hurt, the tribe took care of them. When one tribe had food and another didn't, they shared. We survived because we worked together, because we refused to abandon each other. "That's beautiful," Hana said softly. "It's also practical," Jin continued. "Helping others isn't just moral. It's smart. Today I help you. Tomorrow you help me. We all become stronger. We all survive." He looked at the screens showing the plague response. "The coalition asked us to leave. That hurt, but we understood. And we knew that someday you might need us again. So we waited. We prepared. We stayed ready to help." Yuna appeared in the doorway. She looked exhausted but happy. Jin, the latest numbers are in. 92% survival rate in treated patients. The cure is working better than we hoped. Jin smiled. That's excellent news. What about the remaining 8%? Critical cases. Patients who were infected for too long before treatment. We're doing everything we can, but... Yuna's voice trailed off. Send me their files, Jin said immediately. I'll have Wu review them personally. If there's anything we can do, we'll do it. Later that week, Hana joined Jin on a visit to one of the medical facilities. She wanted to see the response efforts firsthand. What she saw changed her forever. Human doctors worked alongside coalition medics in the treatment wards. They moved between beds, checking patients, adjusting treatments. What struck Hana was how gentle they were, how patient. A human nurse spent 20 minutes comforting a frightened child from a species she'd probably never seen before. A human doctor held the hand of an elderly patient, speaking softly in words the patient couldn't understand, but somehow found comforting anyway. They don't just cure people, Hana whispered to Jin. They care about them. What's the point of curing someone if you don't care whether they live? Jin replied. Bin arrived at the facility that afternoon. He had been touring other medical stations, observing the human response teams. He found Hana and Jin in the observation room. I was wrong, Bin said without preamble. I was wrong about everything, about Earth, about humans, about the danger of making contact. Jin turned to face him. You were trying to protect the coalition. That's not wrong. I was letting fear make my decisions, Bin said. Fear of the unknown. Fear of change. The same fear that made the council push you away 200 years ago. He looked through the window at the medical ward. I watched your people work. They've been here for 6 days. They barely sleep. They refuse payment. When we offer them anything, they say saving lives is payment enough. That's true, Jin said simply. No species thinks like that, Bin argued. Everyone wants something. Everyone has an angle. Humans want something too, Jin said. We want to live in a galaxy where people help each other, where no one suffers alone, where species work together instead of apart. He smiled. Is that selfish? Maybe. But it's the kind of selfishness that helps everyone. Quan contacted the command center that evening. We found the source. The ships led us to a hidden station beyond the border. It's a rogue research facility. They've been developing biological weapons for sale to the highest bidder. Day looked at the data. This is a military matter now. We'll need to organize a coalition strike force. Already done, Quan said. Earth vessels have surrounded the station. We're waiting for coalition authorization before taking action. This is your territory, your call. Bin stepped forward. You could have destroyed it already. Why wait for authorization? Because it's the right thing to do, Quan replied. This isn't Earth's galaxy. It's everyone's galaxy. We don't make unilateral decisions. We work together. The joint strike happened 2 days later. Coalition and Earth ships approached the station together. The facility surrendered without a fight. The researchers inside were arrested. Their biological weapons were destroyed. It was over. Hana sat with Jin in the station's observation deck that night. They watched the stars together in comfortable silence. What happens now? Hana asked. Now we rebuild, Jin said. The Coalition and Earth, working together, like we should have been doing all along. Will Earth rejoin the Coalition? Jin smiled. That depends. Is the Coalition ready to accept us? Not as threats, but as partners? Hana thought about everything she'd seen. The human doctors working endless hours, the engineers building treatment facilities, Jin's calm leadership, Wu's brilliant mind, Quan's gentle wisdom. Yes, she said firmly, we're ready. 6 months had passed since Hana pressed the button. 6 months since Earth broke 200 years of silence. The galaxy looked different now. It felt different. The Coalition Council chamber was full. Every species had sent representatives. The circular room buzzed with dozens of languages, all translating through the communication systems. But today, everyone was focused on the center of the room. A new seat had been added, a place that had been empty for 2 centuries. Earth's seat. Jin stood beside it wearing formal diplomatic robes instead of his usual simple uniform. Wu was there too, along with Quan and a dozen other Earth representatives. They waited quietly while the council prepared for the vote. Hana sat in the observation gallery with Day. Her role as Earth Coalition liaison had become permanent. She spent half her time on Earth now, learning about human culture, helping coordinate joint projects. It was the best job she'd ever had. "Are you nervous?" Day whispered. "Terrified," Hana admitted. "What if they vote no?" "They won't," Day said confidently. "Look around. Half these species are alive because of Earth's cure. The other half saw what humans are capable of. They'd be fools to refuse." The council leader called for order. The room fell silent. "We gather today to vote on a proposal that would have been unthinkable 6 months ago," the leader said. Her translator rendered her words into every language simultaneously. "Earth has requested full membership in the Galactic Coalition. After 200 years of separation, humanity wishes to return." Murmurs spread through the chamber, not angry murmurs, excited ones. "Before we vote, Earth's representative will address the council. Jin of Earth, please speak." Jin walked to the central platform. He didn't look nervous. He looked calm, ready. Hana wondered how he did that. "Thank you," Jin began. 200 years ago, Earth left this council because our presence caused fear. We understood that fear. We didn't blame anyone for it. We simply stepped back and waited." He paused, looking around the chamber, making eye contact with different representatives. "During those 200 years, we watched the coalition grow. We saw you face challenges, overcome obstacles, build something remarkable, and we were proud. Proud to see the galaxy moving forward even without us. We also protected you," Jin continued, "from threats you never knew existed. Not because we wanted credit, not because we expected payment, but because you were our neighbors, our former colleagues, our friends. And that's what friends do." Another pause. The chamber was completely silent now. 6 months ago, you called us. You needed help, and we responded immediately because that's what we've been waiting to do, to help, to work together, to be part of this community again. Jin's voice grew stronger. "We're not asking to rejoin because we're superior. We're not asking because we think we're special. We're asking because we believe the galaxy is better when we work together. All of us, as equals, as partners. If you accept us back, we promise to share everything we have. Our technology, our knowledge, our resources, not to create dependence, but to create opportunity. We'll teach you what we know. We'll learn what you know. We'll grow together." Jin bowed. "Thank you for considering our request." He returned to his seat. The council leader called for discussion. Species after species stood to speak. A representative from the mining colony in Sector 7, where the plague first appeared, spoke about the human medical teams who saved her entire family. A military commander from the border zones spoke about discovering Earth ships had been protecting Coalition space for decades. A scientist spoke about the joint research programs Earth had already established, sharing knowledge that would have taken centuries to develop independently. Tay stood up. The old diplomat rarely spoke in council sessions anymore, but today he made an exception. "I remember when Earth left," he said. His voice was quiet but clear. "I remember the fear. I remember thinking we were making the galaxy safer, but I was wrong. We weren't safer without Earth. We were weaker. We lost our most capable ally because we were afraid of their potential." He looked directly at Jin. I spent 200 years regretting that decision, wondering if Earth would ever forgive us, wondering if we'd ever get a second chance. His voice cracked slightly. You gave us that second chance. You showed us what humanity really means. Not dominance, not superiority, just endless, stubborn compassion. Tay sat down. There were tears on his face. The vote was called. It was unanimous. Every single species voted yes. Earth was back. The celebration lasted 3 days. Ships from across the galaxy came to the Coalition station. Representatives from Earth brought gifts from their world. Music, art, food, technology. They shared everything freely. Hana found Jin on the observation deck on the 3rd night. He was alone, looking out at the stars. How does it feel? She asked. To be part of the Coalition again? Jin smiled. Like coming home after a very long trip. What happens now? What does Earth want to do first? Everything, Jin said with a laugh. We have 200 years of catching up to do. We want to establish exchange programs, student exchanges, scientific collaboration, cultural sharing. We want to learn about every species. We want to show you Earth. Yuna told me about the medical institute you're building, Hana said. The one that will train doctors from every species. That's just the start, Jin replied. We're planning engineering schools, research centers, art academies. We want to create places where species can learn from each other, where knowledge flows in all directions. Hana looked out at the stars. The galaxy is going to change so much. It already has, Jin said. 6 months ago, you pressed a button, one simple action, and it changed everything. Hana thought about that moment, about her hand on the console, about the red light turning green. I was so scared. The bravest actions usually are scary, Jin said. But you did it anyway. You asked for help. That takes courage. You made it easy to ask, Hana replied. You could have been angry, could have refused, could have made demands, but you just said yes, just like that. That's what family does, Jin said simply. The word hung in the air. Family. Is that what we are now? Hana asked. Earth and the Coalition? Family? We always were, Jin said. We just forgot for a while. Down in the medical facility, Yuna worked with Wu on a new project. They were analyzing genetic data from dozens of species, looking for patterns, looking for ways to prevent future plagues. This is amazing, Yuna said, reviewing Wu's latest research. If this works, we could eliminate hundreds of diseases across the galaxy. It'll work, Wu said confidently. We just need time and resources, and now we have both. Can I ask you something? Yuna said. Why do you share everything so freely? Your technology is centuries ahead of ours. You could charge for it, control it, use it for leverage. Wu looked up from her work. What would be the point? Knowledge isn't like food or water. Sharing it doesn't mean we have less. It means everyone has more. She smiled. Besides, the problems we're trying to solve are too big for one species. We need everyone's input, everyone's perspective. That's a beautiful way to think about it, Yuna said softly. It's the only way that makes sense, Wu replied. In the Coalition Council chamber, Day met with Quan to discuss security arrangements. The discovery of the rogue research facility had revealed gaps in Coalition defenses. We'd like to establish joint patrol systems, Quan said. Earth and Coalition ships working together to secure the border zones. I'm concerned about sovereignty, Day admitted. Some species might see Earth ships in their territory as threatening. That's why there'll be joint patrols, Quan explained. Mixed crews. Earth personnel and Coalition personnel working side by side, building trust through cooperation. Day considered this. You've thought this through. We've had 200 years to think it through, Quan said with a slight smile. We've imagined every possible scenario. We're ready for all of them. Why? Day asked. Why did you prepare so thoroughly? You couldn't have known we'd ever call." "We knew someone would call eventually," Quan said. "Humanity is optimistic that way. We believe in second chances, in redemption, in the power of people to overcome their fears." He looked at Day directly. "We believed in you, even when you didn't believe in yourselves." Day felt something tighten in his chest. "We wasted 200 years?" "No," Quan said firmly. "You grew during those 200 years. You built the coalition into something strong, something worth being part of. If Earth had stayed, we might have overshadowed that growth. Sometimes distance is necessary." "You're very forgiving," Day said. "We prefer to focus on the future rather than the past," Quan replied. Bin visited Earth for the first time that month. He had been invited to tour Earth's military facilities to understand their defense systems. What he found surprised him. Earth's military was advanced, yes. Their ships were faster, their weapons were more powerful, but what struck Bin was the philosophy behind it all. "We don't build weapons to threaten," the Earth military commander explained. "We build them to protect, to defend, to ensure peace through strength." "Every species says that," Bin replied, "but they still use those weapons for conquest." "Then they're lying to themselves," the commander said. "We're not. Earth's military has one purpose: to protect humanity and our allies from harm. We've never started a war. We've ended several." Bin spent a week on Earth. He saw the training programs, the defensive systems, the humanitarian response teams. He saw Earth's military working alongside civilian agencies, ready to respond to disasters, not just conflicts. When he returned to the coalition, he submitted a report recommending full military cooperation with Earth. "They're not a threat," he wrote. "They're the best ally we could ask for." A year after the button was pressed, Hana stood in front of a new monument at the coalition station. It was simple. A metal sculpture showing two hands reaching toward each other across a divide. Below it, an inscription in every coalition language. "No one is too far to call. No silence is too long to break. We are stronger together." Jin stood beside her at the dedication ceremony. "What do you think?" he asked. "I think it's perfect," Hana said. "A reminder that connection is always possible. All you have to do is reach out." "All you have to do is press the button," Jin added with a smile. Hana looked at him, at this human who had changed everything, who had shown the galaxy what humanity truly meant. "Thank you," she said, "for listening, for waiting, for never giving up on us." Jin put his hand on her shoulder. "Thank you for calling, for being brave enough to ask for help, for giving us the chance to come home." Together, they watched as representatives from dozens of species gathered around the monument, taking pictures, reading the inscription, talking about the future. A future they would build together, Earth and the coalition, partners, friends, family. The red light would never glow again. Earth's channel would stay green forever, always open, always listening, always ready to help. Because that's what family does.